Hey everyone, welcome back to Mighty 90 Games. Sorry, it's been a little while since my last upload. I ended up having a friend from out of town stay for a bit, and then I am back to work. So I'm going to be aiming for 2 uploads a week in the next couple of weeks. I'll be doing Wednesday afternoons and Saturdays. So Wednesday afternoon's my time, so it's Wednesday afternoon right now as I'm recording this. So this should be up by like Wednesday night my time. So yeah, if you're tuning in, welcome back. Sorry for the bit of a gap there. It was a bit of an unexpected stay from an old friend. Yeah, so back into it now. So unfortunately, and this is something that I wanted to show you guys, this is a bit of a point of preference with Warhammer. Unfortunately, there's been a hotfix. Now, when you go back into the game after a hotfix, you'll see that you've got this little exclamation mark here that says, if you mouse over it, it'll tell you that your game's out of date. Now, I'm just going to turn the sound down a little bit because I feel like that's a little bit loud against my voice. Now, look, you can sort of play at your own risk after a hotfix. In my experience, it is better just to start a new campaign. All sorts of weird stuff can go wrong after a hotfix, particularly if the hotfix applies to the faction that you're playing. So if this hotfix, which mainly applies to things like Slaanesh and Norska, if I'd been playing like an Empire campaign, I probably wouldn't bother restarting. But like I haven't recruited any Slaaneshi heroes on that campaign because their mounts aren't working for the Warriors of Chaos. Now, theoretically, that patch should have fixed that problem, but if I log in now and recruit a Slaaneshi hero, there is like no guarantee that the game's actually going to work and not crash out horribly. So unfortunately, we are going to have to say goodbye to that Archaon campaign for now. I will do another one though, and I'll just run through it like real quick at the start, and we'll just pick up where we left off, because I was really enjoying that one. But what I thought of today is I thought I would show you sort of a bit of a different side of the game. So I've shown you some pretty powerful characters and some pretty powerful lords and stuff. You know, Archaon can sort of wade in there and do a lot of damage all by himself right from the get-go without needing to have any, you know, without really needing a lot of lead-in time to start getting up there. So what I thought I'd show you today is a lord that is a little bit different. So I'm going to go with Elspeth Von Draken of the Empire, and just showing it's on Legendary, very hard battle difficulty, AI stats modifiers all the way up, and yeah, let's fire away. So I thought I'd choose Elspeth because Elspeth is not a melee powerhouse, but she is still a lord that is capable of killing hundreds and hundreds of things on the battlefield once her magic gets up to speed. At the start, though, she is a little bit of a different kind of lord to play with. So the reason I chose this is because I wanted to show you a campaign where it's actually going to be kind of difficult for me. The Elspeth campaign is quite difficult, and up until now, I've only really shown you lords and characters and campaigns that I'm, you know, sort of pretty good at, that I don't really have any problems with. However, that is not going to give you a fair representation of the game. Stuff is going to go wrong in this game. This game doesn't cooperate. It's like literally, it's designed to make your life hard. So, especially on the harder difficulties. So what I thought I would do today is I'm just going to start an Elspeth campaign, and I am just going to play it like I would normally play it and try and walk you through some of the things that I'm doing and why I'm doing them. And hopefully this will be a good opportunity for me to show you some more tricks and things that you can do when things aren't going so well. It'll also be an opportunity to show you a lot more battling. I've been doing a lot of auto-rolling, and a lot of the comments that I've had are about people wanting to get better at battles and stuff particularly. So I am going to be doing a lot more battling here. I just realised that my characters are turned on to fast mode, which I don't like. That's okay, I'll change that after this, because I'd have to back off to change it now. Yeah, I don't want to do that. So we'll just fire up the first battle here, and we'll just get into it. Now, it said decisive victory. Take it from me, rolling with Elspeth is a bad idea. Particularly at the start of the game, you will take inordinate amounts of damage on your characters, and you will take inordinate amounts of damage on your valuable missile troops and artillery crews, where really you shouldn't be taking any damage on your artillery crews and your missile units at all if you can avoid it. Some damage on Elspeth is going to be pretty unavoidable because I'm going to need her to tank and distract part of the enemy army so that I don't take horrendous losses on my infantry. Elspeth's biggest problem at the start of the campaign is Vlad von Karstein. He will come rolling to the west to eat the Empire up just as quickly as he can, and if you are not prepared for it, he will absolutely curb stomp you. So we've got to get going quick. We've got to get our stuff organised quick, and we've got to have a place of strength to strike out from really early on in the campaign. There's no time for stuffing around, really, in the early stages of the Elspeth campaign, because if you stuff around, you are just going to end up with a face full of bloody, what's his name? Vlad, and it's just going to be a nightmare. The other reason that I thought I would do Elspeth is because we're very, very likely to have to deal with some Skaven, and quite a few people in the comments and stuff like that have asked about Skaven and how you deal with them. And really, the only way to the best way to deal with Skaven is to know your enemy. So if you want to get really good at dealing with Skaven, go and learn to play Skaven, because once you understand how their faction works and what their strengths and weaknesses are, you will understand a lot better how to beat them. And because I'm so busy chatting, these guys are going to get a charge in on my... maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, okay, they got a little bit of a charge in there. That doesn't really matter. That doesn't really matter. So, most dangerous units in this battle are the Crypt Horrors, which Elspeth's already tanking, the Vampire Lord over here, which is going to get a face full of Spirit Leech, followed by... oh, that's good. Okay, yeah, so took a little bit of damage on the Hellstorms, but no actual entities lost. So Hellstorm rocket batteries, do not set your troops up in front of this. They will friendly fire them to death. And that's a pretty good rule with most artillery. The notable exception being stuff that fires up and over, like mortars and catapults and stuff like that. But yeah, things like cannons, try not to have your troops standing right in front of them. And definitely not Hellstorm rocket batteries. Those rockets will just hit the backside of your own troops and blow them to smithereens. Alright, so Elspeth's doing a really, really good job of tanking these Crypt Horrors. As I said, it was going to be inevitable that we were going to take some damage on her, because anything else that had stood up to those Crypt Horrors just would have gotten chewed up and spat out. They're a very, very dangerous unit early on that the vampire counts can field, and don't really have a lot of good answers for them, as most factions this early in a campaign. So what we're trying to do here is we're just trying to lure, and we have done, we've lured their dangerous units in by putting Elspeth out the front. So we got the Crypt Horror to charge in. We've managed to bog down the Vampire in combat just with our trashy infantry units. And that leaves our War Machines and our artillery free to just mow down their really valuable units, like the Crypt Horrors. And I would have liked to have shot the Vampire a bit more, but he really rushed in on us. I was kind of expecting Vampire AI... unless they've got like a really powerful Vampire Lord, the Vampire AI will often kind of hang their characters back a little bit and try and get like a lot of value out of their spell casting. I'm guessing the reason that they didn't run in this time, the reason they did rush in this time, sorry, is that they possibly had a pretty bad roll at the start of the campaign on their Winds of Magic. Because if he'd had more magic to sit back there and just spray me with and heal his troops and stuff, I feel like he almost certainly would have done that. Yeah, so all we got to do now is just finish off these bastards. So Elspeth's taken a bit of damage, but that was always going to happen in this battle. As I said, needed her to distract and tank the Crypt Horrors, because as bad as the damage on Elspeth is, the damage that the Crypt Horrors inflicted to any of our infantry units, or God forbid one of our artillery units, would have been a lot worse than what's happened here to Elspeth. So all we got to do is just get rid of these. Oh, shivers. No. I don't want you firing into that, please. I'm going to turn you around and turn you off friendly fire. You can turn them off friendly fire, and sometimes I'll just keep on friendly firing, which is pretty annoying. So yeah, you've got to keep an eye on your artillery pieces, especially when they've got the capacity to do like really damaging friendly fire volleys on you. So yeah, took a lot more damage on that battle than we would have on, say, a Chaos battle. Because the Chaos, even the... you know, even just basic Warriors of Chaos are a lot better than, like, Empire Spearmen. Way better. Sorry about my excessively creaky office chair. I've really got to get a new one, but this thing's so comfortable. I've had it for ages. But yeah, it's starting to get, like, office chair arthritis. Alright. I am going to take the healing off that, because 9% is not to be sneezed at, and I want to go straight for this second city. So as I said, as Elspeth, we got to go quick. Actually, no, here we go. I can do that now. My faction, I would like my lords set to normal, please. And I would like my heroes set to normal, please. And since when does this thing even remember? Oh, it doesn't remember. That's weird. Okay, so there's a hotkey to speed up your character's movement, and it is R. If you tap the letter R while a character's moving across the campaign map, it will turn them on to, like, ultra-fast mode. I must have accidentally done that when I was moving her at first. So if you ever wonder why your character's running around at hyperspeed and you didn't mean to, it's because you tapped R. Press R again to undo it. Or go and change it in the camera menu. What's some other cool hotkey ones? Yeah, Control T on the campaign map gets rid of all of the city names and army banners and stuff. That can be really handy if you're trying to move a character around in like a very detailed, precision sort of way. You want them to go exactly on this tile, but you can't click there because the burg of Marienburg is in the way. You can hit Control T to hide those things, which makes it a bit easier to move characters around. Alright, so this is not a fantastic map. The reason that this isn't a fantastic map is that we've got a lot of gunpowder units, and gunpowder units need to fire in a straight line. They're not like archer units where they can fire over stuff. So if we put our gunpowder units here, they really wouldn't be able to fire until things were right in front of them, like here. Or we'd have to deploy them here and then move them forward and then shoot down the hill. But what I would rather do is camp back over here in the corner and pull them back into the forest. And once again, we'll be using Elspeth as bait, although there's nothing quite so dangerous in this garrison as there was in the army that we just faced. So this should already be a lot easier of a battle in terms of enemies that we have to look out for. So we'll just kind of double stack the infantry over there so that nothing can get in on a flank. And then, so this guy here is an engineer. This hero, he's got no business being in combat if we can possibly avoid it. So all we got to do is standard procedure, try and goad in. Yep, second it got into the range of all that firing, dead, charge, thank you very much. Let me just get the war machines and aim them at, no. So yeah, just be careful when you're clicking around, because as I said then, as you saw then, sorry, I just accidentally issued a move order instead of a fire order. And if I hadn't been on top of that, my artillery would have been like, okay, he wants us to go over there. And they would have happily walked across the battlefield and then gotten eaten. Or they would have gotten themselves way out of position and I wouldn't have been able to make any use of them. Alright, so again, putting this on fast mode because I am just trying to be respectful of your time. And I've had a long day of meetings and stuff at work, and my brain is a bit fried, but I'm determined to try and stick to this this Wednesday, Saturday thing. Yeah, it was a bit of a curveball, my mate, coming around. It was kind of like is he gonna come? Is he gonna come? Yes, no, yes, no. It was difficult to organise with him getting time off work and all this sort of stuff, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, go, and then he was here. And I was like, I'm going to have to do some content while you're here, so if that's okay. And he was like, yeah, of course. And then it just ended up happening because I was having so much fun hanging out with him. And I have discovered another game that I will be doing a video on as well. And I would just like to preface that by saying that I am in no way monetized or sponsored by anything or anyone. So if I recommend a game to you, it's not because someone has paid me to do it, it's because I genuinely think it's a really good game, and you'll probably, if you enjoy this, you'll enjoy it. And in this case, if you enjoy this game, I very much think you will enjoy this other game that I have discovered. To be honest with you, I actually haven't played, the entire time my mate was here, we used to play a lot of Warhammer together. The entire time my mate was here, which was like 6 days or something, the entire time he was here, we didn't actually even launch Warhammer once because we were both so into this other game. I won't tell you what the other game is yet, I'll wait until I make a video on it. But it's really, really damn good. Like, when I'm finished making this content, when I'm making this video tonight, like when I'm finished making this, I'm going to go straight and play that other game. I enjoy Warhammer a great deal, but this one's very new and very shiny, and I'm still enjoying it immensely and figuring it out and stuff. Okay, so this hasn't gone super well. They've managed to get behind me and into my artillery because I wasn't really paying attention. But that's okay. The purpose of this campaign is to show you how things go in this game when they don't go so well. Like, I've shown you a lot of things going very well. I want to show you some things going not so well. So I'm going to have to pull that artillery off the field so they don't get killed. So remember, that's nearly always an option. If you've got that little flag there, you can withdraw your troops. If you are stuck in a defensive siege scenario where you're inside the city and you have nowhere for your troops to retreat to, then you can't do that. If you are caught in march stance, you can't do that. And I think there's a few other situations where you can't do it, like quest battles and stuff. I don't think you can do it from there either. Okay, so that was a really messy one there. Only close victory from that. That's okay. Because again, need to show you guys how to actually recover from bad stuff happening as well. So I can't just be always playing campaigns that are like total cakewalks like Archeon. Sorry guys, just paused the recording in my in the load screen there. You probably heard my puppy go ballistic. Yeah, jury's out as to what that was about. There doesn't appear to be anything there. Either that or there's some sort of invisible entity standing behind me and I'm about to be in a whole world of trouble. Alright, so with Elspeth, we're not going to be really doing any sacking or anything at the start here. We are just going to be trying to go. So I'm just looking at the Empire Lords here. I want another Lord like yesterday. Ideally, I want an Engineer. Because she buffs them and they've got some really good things and she gets some cool magic items that I can equip to an Engineer. But I'm thinking it might actually be better to take a melee lord for now to balance her out. Now, the cool thing about Elspeth is that her army is completely immune to vampiric attrition. So you saw that when this guy was standing outside the city here, he was taking vampiric attrition because the vampiric corruption in this area is so high. Elspeth can happily traipse back and forth through vampiric corruption and never take a single hit points damage to anything in her army. So, worth grabbing another hero for Elspeth early on, and then, another lord, sorry, and then just park that lord straight into that city, because she can still stand out here and replenish. He cannot. What do I want to do here? Money is a big problem for Elspeth early in the game. It really is, so I'm tempted to come along down here first and pick up Quartermaster and Headhunter, and I also think that particularly, Lightning Strike, that might be really helpful against Vlad. So, I think I'm going to come along the blue tree first and pick up those things. Alright, so let me just quickly do the research. I think I want to get that campaign movement range or replenishment rate first. I'll take the replenishment rate first. And let's just have a quick squiz and see if we can do any diplomacy. Yes, we can. So, here's an interesting thing in the game. You can see that Sterling's got 7.2 and Reichling's got 0.7. Sometimes making an alliance or making an agreement with one faction will raise or lower your chances of doing it with another faction as well. Doing it. So, here, it would be best to take the treaty with Reichlin first, because that will still, even if that had dropped, that wasn't going to drop by 7.2 and get me below the point where he would actually agree to it. Whereas if I'd done this first, it may well have dropped Karl Franz, 0.7 or more into the negatives, and then he wouldn't have gone for it. So, yeah, take the littlest chance one first. No, I don't want that, but I do want to see if I can spleeze my way into anything else with him using a bit of diplomancy. The lost school of magic. If I agree to join his war against them, he still won't go for it unless I pay him $1,000, which I'm not doing for a 60 gold trade deal. Alright, we'll just leave that a few turns. But yeah, you can do a hell of a lot with the lost art of magic, diplomancy, which is where you go into the diplomacy screen and do all sorts of crazy stuff and have crazy stuff happen. I'll show you what I mean in a bit. I think I showed you a little bit in the Archeon video, but yeah, I'll probably be making a bit more use of it here, just quietly. This is the Elspeth campaign. If you don't get off on the right foot, it can be very, very difficult, because you've got a bunch of legendary factions around you that are outright hostile, and then you've got a bunch of legendary factions around you that can be hostile if not managed well. That's one of them there, Durthu of the Wood Elves. You got to tread pretty carefully with Wood Elves. It doesn't take much to piss them off, and they forgive very slowly, and they're very quick to go to war. So we'll be trying to make a diplomatic agreement with him pretty early on by selling him a settlement that we steal and we don't want for ourselves. Specifically, I'll probably try and sell him either Gristle Valley here or Fort Sol, which is in here. And I don't know why, but when you play as Elspeth, it starts the world map on a slightly different angle to everything else, because it's usually like that. So that's usually how I put it back. I don't know why it starts her with a weird tilt on it. I don't like it though. I don't like it at all. So yeah, Fort Sol is there. We've got Skaven Icket Claw. He's down here. That's where he starts, there in Skaven Blight. Up through here is Belagar Ironhammer of the Dwarves, and if you don't handle him well, he can actually declare war on you as well. You got Durthu of the Wood Elves in here in Athel Lauren. That's the Wood Elves' most holy of holies, their most sacred of sacreds. So you've got Durthu Orion in there, Durthu and Orion in there, so they're both Wood Elf legendaries, and then you've got some other clown whose name I can never remember, and Daith, who are both non-legendary factions. There's 4 separate Wood Elf factions located right in there, just in that little bit, and they are all very friendly to each other, and generally pretty hostile to anyone outside that isn't Bretonnia. Unless you take some steps to make them friendly. You've got Vlad von Karstein, he starts there. You've got Azag the Slaughterer of the Greenskins, he's up here somewhere. You go a little bit further north, you've got Festus the Leech Lord right there. You've got Azazel of Slanesh there. You've got Norska all up through here. You've got Khorne over here. You've got Archeon a little bit north. You've got Chaos Dwarves the other side of the mountains. It's a campaign with a lot of enemies. And so that's why I chose this one, because we don't have a huge position of strength to strike out from right from the start like we did with Archeon, and this should actually showcase some more of the difficult side of this game for you. Now, I would not trust the auto roll with this one, because I'm going to need my army to be in good shape for next turn, because I'm going to have to launch a siege on a capital city. And I want my army in good nick. And I've already managed to get a couple of my Hellstorm rocket batteries knocked off. That's okay, we'll get them fixed up. It's funny, actually, like, playing by myself, that never would have happened. I go to stream it, or I go to record a video, and it's like, suddenly I'm bad. I started, when I first started streaming, I actually wanted to stream Doom, because I was having a great deal of fun playing Doom at that stage, and then I realized I was way too much of a sweat playing first-player shooters to ever try and stream that. Like, my bloody wife would like stop by and watch me play, and I'd be like, oh my god, my elbows are where my hands should be, and I don't know how to use the mouse anymore. Alright, got some Pistoliers. These are one of my favourite Empire units. They're not much to look at, and to be honest, they're not really actually much even on the battlefield, but they do provide some much needed speed and mobility early game, particularly with their ability to move and shoot and skirmish. They are good at annoying enemy cav and flyers and getting them to chase like this. Now, it does not really matter to me if the Outriders get damaged. That's kind of what they're there for. Their job is to annoy the enemy army into moving before it's ready, before it's gotten all properly formed up, and to sending out units like this in an ill-advised attempt to run down one unit. And instead, what happens is they run smack bang into a firing line and just get absolutely deleted, like so. And yep, there we go, bloop, gone. And then we just let the artillery go back to shooting whatever it wants. Now, artillery can be told what to shoot at. In my experience with something like the Hellstorm rocket battery, that's got like a very inaccurate wide range of shots, it's generally just better to let it do what it wants to do, because you'll tell it to fire it at a particular target, and then the artillery crew will be like, okay, well, we have to move the machine, we have to turn around, and then we have to line up the shot. And what ends up happening is that they just end up taking frigging forever to actually start firing. Whereas they're like, you just let them do what they want, and they're just like, look at this, they just pump out shots. And then so all you've really got to be aware of is just not having your units in front of them where they can get shot. So with like a more precise artillery piece, like a Dwarven cannon or something like that, yeah, by all means, micromanage its shots, tell it what to aim at. But for something like a Hellstorm rocket battery, in my experience, 90% of the time, it's better just to let it aim at whatever it wants, and just make sure that nothing of yours is in the way. And then when you end up with the fight bogged, the battle ends up bogged down in a melee toward the end, just turn it off, fire at will. And sometimes if it's not cooperating and just keeps firing anyway, just turn it around. Or you can highlight the weapon, you can highlight the artillery crew, click this button here, drop artillery or engine. The hotkey for that is B by default. And yeah, you can just tell them to drop their artillery. And obviously once they've dropped their artillery, they can no longer be firing it. And then you can tell them to go back and pick it up afterwards if you want to. Alright, guy got here just in time, I think. Now, I said that the engineer has no business being in melee, and that's true, but that's... Whoa. He can probably tank a unit of skeletons for a few seconds until someone else bails him out. Yeah, I'm doing a terrible job of protecting my artillery here. I'm too busy bloody flapping my jaws. Alright, so you can see the artillery crew are pretty damn slow when they're trying to run with their artillery. But if I just tell them to drop their artillery, then they can run away at normal speed. And the enemy won't, like, sit there and just destroy the artillery pieces for some reason. Because they totally could do that if they decided they wanted to, but they don't do that. It's like they're not aware that they have that option. Alright. Get the Hellstorm rocket battery back into operation. Yep. And we'll just bring him back a little bit. Yep, run away. Run away. Go. I'm going to get the Gnome Ironsides around here to help pick on those zombies. Get the Hellstorm. I think that's pretty much back in where I want it. Yep, so it can start firing at them. So these guys skirmish around. Redeploy these up the front. I will take the cannon back. Get you out of the way. Yep, he's firing quite happily. Get a flank charge in there. Get a flank charge in there. Elspeth's going to get out of harm's way. Throw a bit of magic around just for the sake of getting some kills on her, hopefully. One of my units of Outriders has run out of ammunition, but that's okay. They can still run around in circles even when they're out of ammo. Get those two firing on them. Now, you'll notice that the undead do not run away. They just sort of stand there and fall apart when their leadership breaks, which is kind of cool to watch. They just sort of crumble into wind. Alright, a much better result there. Much better result. As I said, I haven't played this in a few weeks. Well, no, not 10 days. I haven't played it in like 10 days. Because I've been playing this other mystery game, whose name I will reveal in a later video. Alrighty. Yeah, 71 losses, not too bad. Wiped out their entire army. Well, their entire garrison for very little cost. As tempting it is to sack that, I'm not going... Ooh, do I want to do... No, it's occupied. I don't need the public order problems. I really don't. Sorry, control, it's called now. Bloody public order. Alright, let's upgrade that. I want to get this up to its top. I want to get this up to tier 3 as soon as I can, because you can put some pretty groovy stuff in for Elspeth. Indeed you can. Indeed. So this is the Imperial Gunnery School. This is a really cool thing that we'll get to in a little bit. I just got to get some more of these schematics first. So schematics are a special currency used by Elspeth. You get them just from like battling and whatever. And you spend them on upgrading specifically gunpowder, artillery, and things like tanks. Yep, Empire can field tanks, steam tanks. It's really cool. Actually, I might even be able to show you. It kind of cripples your economy to do this, but if you are in a really bad state and you're really not confident with this, or if you're playing on an easier mode where it's not going to cripple your economy so hard, let me show you something when my turn ticks over. You can actually get access to a regiment of renowned steam tank, like turn 2 or 3 or 4 or something. Wait until that ticks over. Let's go, let's go, let's go! There we go. Alright, so if you wanted to, I think I might just about have enough money to do it. Let's have a look. If I go into research here, and I go down to over here, and have a look at this one here, Machines of the Empire. So it costs 7,500 gold to research, so I could do that this turn. It would leave me with stuff all. It only takes 1 turn to research. But then I could go, once that's researched, if I went to Elspeth and clicked on this button here, that button there, sorry, that one would then be active, as would that one. So you could actually, no, wait. Yeah, that one. That one and that one. They would be active. So I could actually get a steam tank and a mortar, like, next turn, if I was so inclined. But it does do a bloody number on your economy. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to give this guy 1 turn of recruitment. Just because I want a few extra gunners in this army. And I think I want handgunners on horses because they go fast. So I'm just going to put Elspeth in ambush stance just behind this guy, and hopefully the trick will work the same as you saw it does with Archeon, and this guy will come to attack this guy, trigger the ambush, and get ambushed before he even realizes that Elspeth is there. But just in case, I will back her off just a smidge, just in case he busts the ambush, so he can't walk around and besiege Wissenberg without us. I'm just making sure that she's standing inside Wissenberg's control zone, as well as that Lord's. Let me just check the diplomacy again real quick. Would you do that if I did that? No, it's actually further away now. Alright, fair enough. So that faction that he's fighting, the Warherd of the One Eye, he obviously considers to be less of a threat than the last time we spoke to him. That's alright, just keep an eye on it, keep checking every turn, see what we can do. Now, it is possible as Elspeth, and it is was once upon a time, my sort of opening play as Elspeth was to build immediately in the capital, instead of building the growth building, was to build the tier 2 artillery building that allows the recruitment of mortars, and then just go steamrolling in that way. I'm just going to roll that, because that's... no, it's not. Yeah, screw it, I'm rolling it. I'll take the money, yeah. Yeah, my opening gambit used to be to build the... I'll show you the building in a sec. The reason I don't do it anymore is because mortars have taken a bit of a nerf, I think. They're not as good as they once were. So I used to build, instead of building that, right off the cuff, and by all means try it, so if you like it, I used to build that right off the cuff, the gunsmith. And that gave me access to war wagons, which are really good, but not so much in like heavily forested areas, mortars and engineers, and that used to be my opening play. But as I said, I don't like mortars I don't rate mortars as much as I used to, and it really does do a bloody number on the growth front. It's really, really a very good idea to try and get at least your capital city to grow as fast as you can in this game, and putting in that other artillery building instead of the growth building, it just stunted the growth of this province so badly it was hard to catch up again. But if that seems like a strategy that you would like to play, whereby you build the artillery building straight out of the gate, then please, by all means, give it a go. Let me know how it went for you. Alrighty, yep, valiant defeat, that sounds about right for a prediction. Yeah, Trickster Shard's pretty crap, I don't really need that, to be honest. Alrighty, now this is a siege that we are absolutely going to exploit the daylights out of. So you rock up to a city and you're a new player and it's like valiant, it tells you got a valiant defeat, and you're like, well, geez, I can't win that, like what am I going to do? You ignore what this machine says because the machine is stupid, especially on a city map that has a honking great big blind spot. Now, you don't have to play like this, alright? This is going to be a campaign where I show you a lot of, like, cheap, underhanded tactics. Cheesy plays, exploity stuff, because there's a lot of it in the game. And you don't need to use it all the time, but it's a really good thing to know how to do when the going gets tough. Because it beats having to restart a campaign because, whoops, didn't think of that. So, it's good to know how to spleeze your way out of a bad situation. So, in this case, we are going to set up square in the blind spot of these towers, right? So these two towers here, these are the only real ones that can threaten us. They got about a 45-degree arc of fire out of each side. So what we've got to do is make a small, narrow target that they can't hit with nothing but the characters in front. Now, this is ideally why I'd like to have an engineer, is specifically for this fight, because engineer lords start the game. They start right from level 1 with the ability to restock ammunition. Alright, so that would have been really, really handy for this particular battle, because it means that I would be able to restock the ammo of our artillery pieces. As it stands, because we've got a melee lord, I'm not going to be able to do that. The engineer heroes do get the ability to restock ammunition. I think that talent point unlocks at level 8 from memory, but obviously he's not there yet. So, what we're going to do instead is we are just going to use these artillery pieces to soften up their defenses, and we're going to blast a hole in that section of wall there. So you can see there that fort wall has a health bar. This fort wall is indestructible, so don't shoot that one. because it's a waste of ammo. And your characters, if shots hit, they can absolutely waste shots shooting at indestructible stuff. That one you can't actually click on, but there are ones in the game that you can click on, even though they're indestructible. What you'll also notice is that when a section of wall gets destroyed, I'm going to just punch out one more section over here. When this section of wall goes down, you'll notice that a bunch of the infantry fall into the gap and die instantly. If we could somehow convince that hero to be standing here when that happened, that hero, that lord, whatever the hell he is, would die instantly. The very, very first time I ever saw that happen was shortly after I'd landed Manfred von Carstein on a zombie dragon on the walls of a city, and then something happened and the city wall collapsed and Manfred just died instantly. And that's how I learned that mechanic existed. Alright, so now we're just going to let the artillery basically do whatever the hell it wants, as per standard procedure. We are going to bring the Nuln Ironsides up to this gap. Now, this would be a very bad way of assaulting a city if the enemies could shoot back. Vampire counts, however, are noticeably lacking in the shooting department. They can get access to a couple of units in Sylvanian crossbowmen and Sylvanian handgunners. The AI does sometimes make use of them, but not often. Like, I have never seen a army of vampire counts run by the AI that had more than like 2 units of shooting in it. Partly because they're capped on how many they can have, and you've got to do some pretty like exploity stuff to massively increase that cap, and the AI just doesn't do stuff like that. But also partly, like, they're not really that fantastic, because like the vampire lords don't have anything in their talent trees that they can use to buff their range damage or ammunition or anything like that. So it's a bit of a one-trick pony, using those Sylvanian ranged units as vampire counts, I think. I'm sure some people would call that absolute blasphemy, and they love them. And they are cool. I don't really use them. I think the vampire counts have got better stuff on their roster. Alright, I'm going to use the cannon to shoot that tower. Just going to start launching Hellstorm rocket battery shots wherever, because it's nearly out of ammo, and I have no way of restocking it. So I'll just try and get some damage in on it. These guys are taking a bit of a beating from that tower, but that's fine, because the tower needs to be shooting at something, and I'd rather it to be shooting at that than our characters. This is a great thing about the Empire's roster, is that a lot of their stuff is very, very disposable. It's like, it feels weird playing an autotide faction and not giving a rat's about your, like, the lives of your troops, but Empire is one of the factions that you can do it with. Now, it's always a good idea in this game to try and keep your casualties to a bare minimum, but there will be times where you simply just need to sacrifice something to get the job done, and Empire is a really, really good faction for learning that with, because they've got a lot of very disposable units. Why are you facing the wrong way, you absolute tit? Alright, so Elspeth's soon going to be out of capacity to tank that gap, which is why I wanted to have this melee lord as a backup. So as you can see, we're just making the AI do really dumb stuff and then punishing them for it. So we're making them send their units in one at a time. Yeah, a couple of our range units are taking a bit of damage, but whatever. They're paying for it with whole, they're paying for half a dozen casualties on our side with an entire unit on their side. The Black Knights come out of the city. The gunpowder should rip them to shreds. Yeah, so I don't want to come out a second time now. I'm going to bring the cannon. So this is what I'm talking about with your artillery. So I told that cannon to shoot something that it couldn't see. I did that quite deliberately. And then it's just like, it's literally just walked across the battlefield. Didn't go, oh, I can't see that, boss. It just went, okay, we'll walk over there. So yeah, be careful what orders you issue to your artillery, because sometimes they will follow it without any consideration of, well, they'll just follow it without any consideration of context, and they'll end up getting themselves killed real quick. Alright, so just going to keep doing this for now, for this battle. So the idea is just to try and take this city with as minimal damage on our side as possible, so that we can just keep the momentum going. Just got to keep the momentum going. There's Elspeth. More battles, more schematics, more upgrades, more units, more battles, more schematics, more upgrades, more units. It's a really, really fun campaign. It really is. And some of the stuff that she can do to the gunnery units is pretty freaking insane. Like the Amethyst Outriders have got these like magical grenade launchers, and they can all stalk, and it's just disgusting. They're so powerful. Like, I mean, yeah, I know I said the Outriders aren't great, but they're a useful unit. They're never going to kill a whole army by themselves, but goddamn, they can make your life so much easier by having them on the battlefield. The Amethyst Outriders, holy jeez, yeah, they'll kill an army by themselves happily. Like, not one unit of them, but yeah, they're dangerous. Real dangerous. I'm gonna wait till this guy... Just gonna keep sniping him with magic. When he gets close, we've got plenty of... Oh, no, actually, we don't really have that much magic left, do we? Okay, where's my melee guy? Here we are. Come in here. Come over here, please. Back up. Back up. Back up, back up, back up. Ran out of ammo, you idiots. Okay, I wanted him to go through that hole in the wall, but okay, whatever. As long as he went through a hole in a wall, I suppose. Now, I'm letting Elspeth just stick her nose through the gap in the wall into the city in the hope that something's going to chase her back a little bit. Nah, they're not going to go for it. Alright, they're not going to be that stupid. Alright, that's okay. Get the Pestiliers to go finish that lord off. Oh. Nah, I don't quite have enough magic. Alright, so here's where it's going to get a bit ugly, and here's where it would have been really good to have the Engineer Lord, because we would have been able to restock ammo and stuff. So this is going to get a little bit ugly now, because we're pretty much out of ammunition, so this is going to have to descend into an actual invasion of the walls. But you'll notice that we haven't used our melee infantry at all yet. Oh, no. You'll notice we haven't used our melee infantry at all, so they're still in a really good nick. Oh, Elspeth nearly bought the farm. Yeah, that's not nice. I obviously didn't say those ghouls because they stalked up to her. And like a tool, I didn't check the enemy's garrison composition before I launched the attack, so I wasn't keeping a lookout for them. So it's important to do recon. And check the information that the game gives you, like what nasty units the enemy's got hiding in their army. I wonder. I'm going to put him up on the walls there. That might be useful. Fully thought Elspeth was going to die then. Woohoo! Nah, she good. She good. Hold on, Elspeth. Alright. Pistoliers to... Oh, no. They can't fight through there. Our own guys are in the way. Have them stay up on the wall, please. And their leadership should break any second now, and they should all just fall apart and get bored and go home. Yep, should be any second now. So you'll notice that the Empire's heroes and lords are a far cry from the how tough and tanky and damaging the Chaos ones are. But again, that is sort of the point, because if you only ever play the power factions in this game, then you're not really getting the full experience. Like it's also fun to be the underdog. It really is. Like, yeah, you can play Archeon and Scarbrand and just roll over the whole planet the whole time, but you can also play something like Elspeth, which is like, really challenging. Cool, lots of kills on the Hellstorm. Elspeth's not in great shape, but that doesn't really bother me. She heals up pretty quick. And other than that, we got through that pretty well. Less than 1,000 dudes versus their over 2,000 dudes. We got through that pretty well. Loading screens, I've noticed, are taking a lot longer since the hotfix. Don't know if that may be something on my end. I might need to update my graphics card, or maybe the hotfix was like a bit dodgily applied on my end, like an internet dropout or something. Might need to do the old verify integrity of game cache thing on Steam. But we'll see how we go. Now, we're not realistically going to be able to defend this against everyone that's going to come at us. So I think that one. Nah, I'll just take it. And the reason I'll just take it is because I don't want to have to deal with public order problems, control problems from sacking it. Alright, so let's actually do this now. Just I'll show you that it's actually viable, even on the legendary modes. I'll do this now just because I've got a bit of spare cash lying around. Or let me just double check that I can't do the Gardens of Moor yet. No, I don't think the Gardens of Moor unlock till next turn. Yeah, become accessible on turn 5. Okay, no, I won't do the steam tank thing yet because I want to save the money for the Gardens of Moor. But yes, I could very easily just click this button here, wait till next turn, and then recruit a regiment of renowned steam tank. Obviously, I need the money to do it. I need the money to pay for it, and it's an expensive beast. But if you do want like an absolute power unit, like top tier stuff in your army right from the get-go as Elspeth, you can do it that way. And it's not that I wouldn't recommend it, it's just that on the harder modes, be aware that it's absolutely going to mangle your economy. Like, you're not going to have a good time of your economy afterwards for a little while. It'll take a bit to recover from that. But on the other hand, you have a steam tank to help you recover from that. So, hey, take your pick. I'm going to put the corruption down because we're going to be spending a lot of time in corrupted areas. Yep, can't get restock yet. Yep, level 8, I was right about that. It's not bad. Going from memory, well done, Nighty. And can't really recruit anything there. Well, no, can't recruit anything there at all. So let's back him off into our core territory, and we will pick up... What can I get him that might be useful? Next turn, the Gardens of Moor will give us access to some better stuff that we can recruit. Well, turn after that, however long it takes them to build them. So I think for now, I might actually just leave him rather than just recruit some, like, pointless trash. But let's go into the Imperial Gunnery School, because we've got some good schematics lined up here. How many have we got? 665. Yeah, that's enough for at least one decent upgrade. So missile strength for gunnery infantry units. Don't have a lot of them yet. Speed, 15% for outriders, pistoliers, war wagons, strider. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's grab that one. That's good. So my skirmishing missile cavalry will be able to run a lot faster and move unimpeded through woods and stuff. And when you do the gunnery school upgrades, you get this sort of stuff. Now, you can't equip that to Elspeth because you've got to be an engineer. So if you recruited an engineer lord at the start, you can equip it to that, or you can otherwise just equip it to the one that you started, the engineer hero that you started the game with. I also didn't realise we'd had this much stuff drop already. It's pretty handy. The potion of full hardiness is crap. I'll save that and like fuse it with another grey item. Hopefully get something good out of it. Here in Faldorf, I will put in... I might go with that for the replenishment for now. Just get Elspeth's army back up to full strength ASAP. I'm not going to spend any money here because it's only 4 turns until we can put that up to tier 3, so I'm very tempted to save the population for that. And I also want to save a ton of money for the Gardens of Moor, because they'll give us access to some really bitchin' recruitment very early on. So what we've got to do now is we've got to take out, we've got to finish taking out this tribe of greenskins, we've got to take out this tribe of greenskins, and we want to try and get this city and sell it to him in exchange for a diplomatic treaty, so that we don't have to worry about the Wood Elves storming over here and attacking us. And if you can get an in with one of the Wood Elves in Athel Loren, it's usually pretty reliable to get. So if you can get positive relations happening with one of the Wood Elves of Athel Loren, particularly one of the legendary factions, it's pretty reliable that you can then at least get to like non-aggression and trade with the other guys. They're very prickly. It's hard as a non-Wood Elf faction to get all the way to like military alliance and stuff like that, except for a few factions. So things like the High Elves that can just like press a button to make diplomacy go brr. The Wood Elves like Bretonia, but yeah, they're a bit cagey on everyone else. And they're pretty unreliable allies as well, by and large, if you're not playing another Wood Elf faction. Like, I might be able to get a alliance with Durthu here, but then, like, let's say a defensive alliance, but then there's no guarantee that he won't just break it the second someone tries to declare war on us. So yeah, they're not exactly the best allies for non-Wood Elf factions, but I'd rather still have like a positive relationship with them than a negative one, for sure. So that is... Oh, bloody pricey. I'm going to do it anyway. And then, because I'm going to show you some other stuff as well, about how you can scale up the value of settlements that you want to sell, which is a really, really handy trick. So just level this guy up as an individual combatant for now, because can't really afford to give him an army yet, and I won't be giving him an army yet. So what I want to do then is I want to build the Gardens of Moor, which is its own little interface. And I want to build my first one right here in Nuln for 3 grand. And then it gives us this building here, which allows Elspeth to fast travel to the location. It gives us diplomatic penalties from trespassing against the owner of the region. So if I set that up, like if I managed to take Grunberg, let's say, I could set up a Gardens of Moor in there, and then I could sort of trespass through Karl Franz's territory and he wouldn't care. It also enables replenishment in foreign territory. So if I was out here with Elspeth, she'd still be replenishing off the Gardens of Moor, even though she's in a non-friendly province. And then you can also put in one of these 3 buildings. This one gives you access to Death Wizards and increases your hero capacity for Battle Wizards and your Winds of Magic. This one is about making the... it gives you the knights of more elect accounts, and it also makes the other knights of... It makes the replenishment time on them cheaper. The first one I like to build, though, is this one, because it gives you access to quite a good slew of units for recruitment. It builds in a single turn, and it gives you 25% upkeep reduction on units that are in this territory or adjacent territory. So we've only got to wait one turn for that to build, and then we can recruit some really good stuff off it. In the meantime, that would be a little bit risky, just because she's already a little bit damaged. So what we might do instead is we might come into ambush stance, cruise over to here, and we're just going to gamble that no one's going to declare war on us over the end of the turn. I'm not going to declare any other wars this turn, but I will have a look around. There you go. He'll go trade agreement and military access now. He's not at war with anyone, so I can't trick him into doing anything else that way. But let me see what else I might be able to do. No. Sterland. Yes, you'll pay me some money for that. That's good. What about Carrick Hearn? Carrick Norn? No, I don't want to do a trade with them. I don't want to do anything with Carrick Norn because they're at war with the Wood Elves that I'm trying to make friends with. And they won't take kindly to that. Let's have a look if there's anything else I can stuff with. They don't have any allies yet. They don't have any allies or treaties yet. They're already at war with someone. Nope. Okay. Very little happening on the diplomacy front. Then again, it is only turn 5, so that's fair. Alright, spinning on. Gonna keep just saving bank so that when we can upgrade Norn to tier 3, we can just upgrade Norn to tier 3. I'm gonna have stuff around. Alrighty. I'm just going to pause the recording for 2 seconds at the top of this turn, and then we'll jump straight back into it. Hope everyone's having a good New Year so far. Getting on toward the end of January already. Where does the time go? Alright, be back in 2 seconds. Alrighty, and we're back in. So, we have 2 more turns to wait for Nolan to be able to go to tier 3, but the Gardens of Moor are now ready. Damn, I was hoping they might wander out here somewhere and we can jump them, but nope, okay, never mind. So what we're going to do now is we're going to run him back across, across the Wissenberg border, so she's back home. This guy is going to come over and join her. Yeah, do as I command. And then we are going to start recruiting. What am I going to get here? Do I want to spend 2 turns recruiting? Not really. But, on the other hand, having some Knights of the Black Rose already would not go astray at all. I'm going to do that. Alright, we'll grab 2 Knights of the Black Rose. I'm going to get a Halberd unit, because I would like to have some anti-large in this army. That would be really good, because the vampire counts are likely to bring some large stuff against us. And I think I might get... I'll get a mortar. I used to take like 4 mortars in an army, but I just, yeah, it's not working real well these days. I'm not sure why. I don't know precisely what they've changed. But yeah, mortars don't seem to be as reliable. They seem to miss a lot more. They seem to take a lot longer to reload than they used to. And they also seem to spend a lot more time, like, just kind of swiveling around on the spot, like, not really sure what they're supposed to be firing at. Yeah, I don't know. If anyone else has noticed that, like if you're not a new player and you've noticed that, please comment, because I'd be interested to see what other people's experiences are with that one. Because I used to love mortars. I used to be, you know, they'd be like absolutely in my Empire armies without fail every time. I'd have at least a couple. Sometimes like 4 or 5, depending on who I was fighting. But yeah, don't really like them that much anymore. They don't seem to quite pack the punch that they used to. Alrighty, but I don't recall seeing anything specifically about them being nerfed, so I don't know. But then again, it's, yeah, I probably just missed it. Alright, what else do I want to round that army out for now? And this really is just a for now. Elspeth's army will keep evolving across the course of the campaign until I'm finally happy with it. And it also, that's the other great thing about the Empire, because I've got such a varied roster. We're going to be doing quite a few sieges. I'm actually going to grab the extra mortar. They're still okay in a siege situation. Like, it's pretty hard to miss a wall or a tower. But yeah, for field battles, I don't know. I don't like them quite as much as I used to. I'm going to come along here and grab ordnance canisters, because that is going to give my artillery more ammunition, and that's a big win. And I think that's about all I'm going to do this turn, I reckon. Yep, I reckon that's about it. I'll just do a quick check of diplomacy. I really got to remember to keep doing. Got to remember to do diplomacy at the start of the bloody turn, not the end. No. Alright, is there anyone that can jerk around at all? No, I haven't met enough people yet. Alright, that's cool. Spin on. Alright, so we're going to punch out. We're just taking a turn or two here to get our forces up to snuff. Because hopefully then we can pretty much march straight at Vlad and put him down. And even if we can't put him down, we can at least kick off the war against him. And try and get some good hits in early. Lower his treasury by sacking his cities. We can take cities off him and sell them to someone else, because he'll more than likely come and take them back. We probably won't be able to defend one city against, like, we're not going to be able to defend the Moot, for example, against like a 4-stack of vampire counts, and they are absolutely capable of having 4 stacks in the field by now. Do not worry about that at all. Yeah, so vampires are a bloody nightmare. So what we're going to do first is we're going to put Elspeth in ambush, unless she can make it there this turn. Can she make it there this turn? No, I don't think she can. It turns red right at the end there, and it gives us 0% movement. Alright. So we're going to do the old 1-2. Bring her out to here in good ambush terrain. Park him right out in front of her like an idiot. Just scooch her back a little bit so he can squeeze in front of her and still be in our territory. Then we are going to start recruiting just a random spearman. Whether or not he actually gets recruited, it doesn't matter. The AI finds it very, very hard to... Let me declare war on them. The AI finds it very, very hard to resist trying to attack a recruiting lord. So by just having that one unit of recruitment there, hopefully that'll convince him that he needs to attack this turn. Now, he did have a full stack there. I think that's gone off to the east to fight Aveland, or possibly south to fight Carrick-Herne, because I didn't see it come over to Fort Sol. So hopefully that second stack will come back this turn and just like stand there awkwardly, and we can jump it next turn. Even better if it would move in, if it was used to move in to try and launch the attack and copped the ambush, but I don't think they'll use a full stack to try and attack one lord. I think they're far more likely to use that one bloke that was sitting in the city there by himself. We'll see what happens. But yeah, the old bait and switch, fantastic tactic to use on the campaign map. Works a bloody treat. Yep, there we go. Straight in. Oh, I even got some more recruitment done first. Oh, it's a nice waste of money for him. Goodbye. There's no point in fighting. There was no point in fighting that manually. There was no way we were going to take any significant damage off that, I don't think. I'll grab the replenishment just so we're in tip-top shape for when that other stack pops up. There he is. Now, I'm thinking what we're going to do here is we're going to use the second lord, Rupert Hellborg. What a name. We use Rupert Hellborg to launch the attack on Steingart, like so. And we'll probably just auto-roll this battle. Because we'll move her in behind, like yay. And then that should just be an absolute splatterfest. Yep, see you later. And then what we do is we leave Rupert Hellborg in the city, put her in ambush out this side of it. Now, the goal here is not actually to ambush the stack. Alright? That's if we don't end up ambushing it, it's fine. The goal here is for him to move in to attack this city, thinking that it's only this unit, this lord, his one unit, and the other unit that he's recruiting, thinking it's only them defending. And what actually ends up happening is that they send insufficient force to take the city because they can't see the freaking second army hiding there. So if we don't get an ambush in this scenario, that's fine. It's not actually intended to work. I feel like if it does work, great. But the actual goal here is to convince him to move in and attack this city when he's not actually capable of taking it. We want him to think that he's capable of taking it. Works really well as well when you're trying to split up multiple enemy armies and you don't have lightning strike. So you put one of your lords in a city or a town somewhere and you stick another army in ambush behind them. And hopefully the enemy will split up their forces. They'll send one army to deal with your apparently one army sitting in a city. and the other 2 armies will bugger off in the other direction, and then all of a sudden you've got them in a 2 versus 1, you've got them at 2 versus 1, rather than them getting you at a 3 versus 1. So you can split them up like that as well. Alright, I wonder where he's off to. Oh, he's declared war on those greenskins. Oh, okay, well, that's fine. If he wants to take them out for me, I'm not going to argue. I don't really like fighting those greenskins, to be honest, because they're a nomadic faction and they don't actually have any territory. And what will often happen is that you'll defeat one of their armies and then they'll have another lord with like 2 units somewhere, and it will disappear into the mountains or underway travel somewhere, and then they just end up popping back up and raiding your territory, and it's just causing you a massive pain in the bum, and you can't actually nail them down to fight them. So I'm actually happy that Franz did that for us. Looks like Averland might even deal with these idiots for us, which actually be kind of annoying. I wanted the XP from beating that army, but hey, if this is the way it works out, that's the way it works out. Okay, well, there we go. Averland took them out for us. On the bright side, that means that you've got a slightly stronger ally in Averland against Vlad, because Averland will be who Vlad goes through first, more than likely. So, top of the turn, let's see if we can get any extra diplomacy happening. Who's he at war with now? The Black Pit Tribe. So if I join your war against the Black Pit Tribe, would you give me not much diplomatically, but it'll increase your opinion of me, and it's an extra $5,000, so alright, why not? The Black Pit Tribe are over here. I seriously doubt they're going to they'd have to make their way all the way through bloody, what's this, Midland and Reichland to get to me. So I don't think they're likely to do that. They're a minor faction. Non-legendary lord. And they usually cease to exist pretty early on in the campaign, just between you and me. Alright, what else do I need? I'm going to need some more gish. This stuff in here is really good in the middle here, but I think I'm going to have to go out here and get some of this other stuff first. Like, I'd really like that one as well. The schematics gained from battles plus 15%. That's really nice. But for now, I think the income from trade tariffs and various resource-producing buildings is going to be just the ticket. Because we're looking a bit skinny on the old turn income. Alright, let's come back over this way, and next turn we will take Fort Sol. Now, we don't actually necessarily even want Fort Sol, like it's not a money-producing settlement, it's just a roadblock between this area down here and the Empire. So we might take it, we might sell it, we'll see what happens. Now, wanted to show you this. If I go to Durthu and I offer him the Gristle Valley, just so 15 likelihood. And if I were to click balance offer, he's going to offer me 1,614 gold for that. Observe how that changes next turn after I have built this tier 1 recruitment building. The tier 1 recruitment building causes them to value the settlement way more highly. And I think that's working as intended, right? Because the AI is like, hey, I can recruit units from that. That's a more valuable settlement than what it was before. That makes sense. I think that there is an issue somewhere in how it's calculated, though. I've had factions pay me 100,000 gold for a tier 1 settlement with a simple 500 gold recruitment building in it. It does something to their brains. They're like, we need that, and we are willing to cut off our own limbs and empty our treasury and give you our firstborns. Hopefully it still works. I'd look really silly if not. That's okay, I always have the power of not uploading the video and making a new one to make myself look better. Ha ha ha. Nah, I don't have the effort for that. I just put it up and make myself look bad. Alrighty. Let's see if that's made much of a change. So that building only takes 1 turn to build, so it's already there. So it was like, what, 1,700 or something last turn? What are they willing to offer us this turn? Yeah. So from 15 likelihood to 70 likelihood, they are now willing to give us a military alliance over that. But I don't really want that, because as I said, they are famously unreliable allies. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to drain their treasury for as much money as they'll give me. Now, they won't give me any more money because I don't have any more money because they're poor. But what I can do is I can use it to get those 3 alliances, those 3 treaties out of them, as well as a ton of money. So I can get non-aggression, military access, and a trade agreement. As well as that's going to give them, that's going to make them a lot more happy with us over the next couple of turns. Plus, it's a settlement we didn't even want. What that now means, though, is that we can freely go back and forth between Athelloren. We can travel through Athelloren perfectly happily. It's also put us in touch with Orion. Has it? Oh, no. We can see his settlement, though. So we should meet Orion in the next couple of turns. And I should be the same for these guys as well. And what should the knock-on effect should be that because we're already friends with Durthu, these guys will already start to like us more. So we can start sort of building a diplomatic base over here already. We've already started building a diplomatic base with Karl Franz. And we can check every turn and just to see who else is willing to do deals with us. Now, they've stopped their war with the Wood Elves, so that now... Oh, no, that was a different faction anyway. That was the faction over there, the red and white guys. So may as well take that as well. I don't really care about military access with them. I've got no real business being up on those mountains, but I will take the trade agreement, absolutely. So you want friends as Elspeth. And really, most Empire factions. You want to try and make as many friends as you can, as quickly as you can, with reliable factions. Another infamously unreliable Wood Elf Lord lives over here in the Griffin Wood. That's Draken. If you can get her on side, she's a very powerful ally to have. But goddamn, she is so flaky sometimes. Okay, that does not feel like it should be a decisive victory, but the things are all turned up, so okay. Why not? And we're just going to occupy that. There's no real point in sacking it for 730 quid. Not really much point in that. And then we just had a scribe drop. That increases the movement range of the lord that it's assigned to. So I'm going to take that. I've got 2 scribes. Nice. Well, neither of them should... That one should definitely not be equipped to a hero. And actually, no, the other lord can have that. That's fine. That's cool. No worries. No stress. What else we got in here? Talisman, Seed of Rebirth. Yep. Give that to Elspeth. Gives her a little bit of fire weakness, but it also gives her a burst of healing. Should she look like she's about to cark it. Just making this guy a regular combatant for now. He's got a few troops in his army, but we're not realistically going to give him a full stack anytime soon. Elspeth also unlocks all these wacky banners as she levels up, so we just got one then, the Frostfire gem. That's a really good one. The one that we're looking for, though, is the one that gives regen, which I think she'll get in Everwood Route. Level 12. Cool. You can only assign those to her army, I believe. I don't think you can give those to anyone else. Okay, that's already on its way up to tier 3, so I might put Dottenbach up to tier 2. I'll put Faldorf up to tier... No, I won't, because that'll leave us with absolutely stuff all cash, so we'll just leave that as it is for now. But what we will do is we'll go back in here and spend a little bit of money, spend a few more schematics upgrading some of our stuff. We've got a couple of mortars in there. Oh, yeah, explosion radius, that sounds good. And next time I'll get that for the gunnery. Units for the handgunners. Won't upgrade that because we're running a little bit short of money. Forts don't have a public order rating, so they actually can't revolt, so there's no point in worrying about control. But the extra trade tariffs, 5% faction-wide, will be quite handy, so I will turn that one on. Cool, so we've secured our immediate area, we've gotten ourselves a few allies. Please do not let this be a declaration of war. No, it's not a declaration of war. What do you want? No, you're at war with the... Oh, look, it's only a trade agreement. It's not like I'm getting married to him. Yeah, I'll take a trade agreement, but I'm prepared to break that. It's a little bit... Yeah, it's a little bit 50-50 with ogres, because sometimes they end up sort of being part of the Order Tide. Sometimes they end up being part of the burn everything down. You can't really call them Chaos Tide, but they can definitely not be your friends. But, yeah, we'll see if we can make Scrag a friend. I don't really want to go down there and fight him, to be honest. I'd much rather concentrate on wiping out Vlad, who, as you can see, is already making some hella inroads over here. So he's already spread out all the way into Flensburg, which is a problem for us, because if we then go across the south of the Empire and try and invade Sylvania that way, he's probably just going to come in and invade Nuln from the north. So what we're probably going to have to do now is we're probably going to have to come up here through Flensburg and Wurtbad and Needling and kind of burn him back one settlement at a time until we've got him in the corner. As you can see, the vampires turn 12 and they are already at, what, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 settlements. They've probably already got, yeah, close to top 10 strength ranking. Vlad himself will already be a force to be reckoned with. Vlad could probably already kill Elspeth's whole army just by himself. So it's a good testing ground, this campaign, because if you can sort of deal with this, you can probably deal with most situations in this. Alright, so what I think we'll do is we will... It's hard to see. Hard to know exactly what to do without knowing where Vlad is. So what I might do is I might see if I can pick up another hero, which I can. I can grab a Witch Hunter. Even better, I can grab a Witch Hunter with increased movement range. Witch Hunters are a hybridized unit. They can shoot and they can fight, but they're not particularly good at either of them. I really prefer to use Witch Hunters as agents on the campaign. I use them for assassinations of enemy heroes. They can block enemy armies, so reduce their movement range. So yeah, they make pretty good spies and agents. I think they make better spies and agents than they do battlefield combatants. personally, but that's just me. Alright, we're in the negatives now because we've recruited a hero, but that's okay, because that's on the way up, that's on the way up, and that's on the way up. So what we're going to do is we're just going to boot these two spearmen. Boink, that'll put us back in the positives. We've got a rebellion happening in Nuln, but that's okay because we're right here and it's going to take them at least a turn to get through the walls. Well, the garrison rather, not that it actually has walls. That's okay, we can fend off that rebellion and then we can move north across that bridge and then hang a hard right and go due east into Flensburg. And then northeast into Wertbad. And so on and so forth. But I think I'll probably leave it at the top of this turn for this video, because we're already, what, an hour and 9 minutes in? Yeah, that sounds about right. And I'll pick up with the second episode of this on Saturday. So, as always, thank you for watching. I really appreciate the time you've taken to do so. I hope that this has been entertaining for you, and I hope that it's been useful for you in your mastery of this game. Yeah, I'll take a trade agreement, why not? Please leave any comments or feedback below the video. If you want to support the channel in any way, please do. It's greatly appreciated. Either way, take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.